things already that are different.
I don't know.
With the
Instagram, quit changing things. Okay, we're up. We're live. Hey, Dr. Amy here. I'll block in out. There we go. Hope everybody's Saturday's doing well. Carolina blue skies are out. But wanted to update you guys very quickly about my patient who had arm weakness. She came into me maybe about 3 to 4 weeks ago, and we followed up this week. Okay, this was only her second visit, and her arm weakness is almost completely gone. So, hang on, take a sip. So we kind of assessed her home exercise program, and I can tell that she was doing it because the specific movement that was tailored to her was helping kind of what we call in the PT world centralize her arm weakness per se, just by doing a simple neck exercise. So she increased her dosage or frequency throughout the day to do that exercise in order to make her arm feel stronger. I'm not going to get into the logistics of why right now. It's just a bunch of nerd stuff. However, I wanted to retest her strength. So I did a general strength assessment, but I wanted to get her in a vulnerable position. And usually in this baseball position, the shoulder's pretty vulnerable. So you think of baseball pitchers, and they're constantly throwing that fast pitch ball or curve balls, puts a lot of forces into the shoulder, into the elbow, as well as... All right, I think we're connected again. So I resist still a little bit of weakness there. Tested her internal rotation, pretty good. But when I assessed her external rotation, I didn't get this kind of like body reaction to kind of like hold her arm there. So that goes to tell me that things are working, right? So there wasn't a compensatory pattern is what we call that. She just had literally some isolation weakness. So that tells me as a clinician that, okay, the rotator cuff in general is typically weak because we don't isolate those particular muscles. So gave her 3 simple exercises. I'm only going to demonstrate one. And usually when I give patients exercises, it's usually maybe perhaps 1 to 3 exercises. Putting myself in the patient's shoe, I don't like to do more than 3 exercises unless it's honed into me that these are truly going to help me, right? So one exercise, I always try to do a what I call a closed kinetic chain exercise. Maybe something that's a little bit more dynamic or stability, working on some coordination, and as well as an open kinetic chain exercise. I'm not going to dig super deep into the difference between those. That could be for another video. But one particular movement was a simple elbow plank, but adding in the dynamic aspect of the elbow plank. So can this patient coordinate her balance into a static and dynamic position? So watch. I think you guys can see me. Okay. All right, so from a front view, I had the patient get into a side plank on the left elbow. Here, I would have her pause in this position, and then I would have her rotate to the other elbow. Pause. And I would have her rotate back and forth to create coordination to find her balance point. So from the side, this is what it looks like. Nice and plank here, right? My hip's not touching the ground. I'm literally like Superman. My elbows underneath my shoulder. So that was one particular exercise I wanted to give the patient. So I'm creating an environment into her shoulder blade that tells her small rotator cuff muscles to turn on. So in turn, that's going to make a stronger nerve muscle connection for her. And she needs a lot of repetitions with that, right? Because usually when things are weak per se, we need a lot of repetition in order to make it more of a natural instinct to perform that motion. But overall, the patient is better. So she's been back at CrossFit class, and her one movement or assessment for her to check her weakness was just a simple lateral raise with a 5-pound weight, and she could do it. She felt pretty symmetrical on each side. And she did mention to me that we had some heavy bench press last week, and when she was benching, she didn't feel that like her left arm had to like really struggle. She felt pretty symmetrical. So that just goes to tell me that that patient was committed. She met me halfway. She did her exercise, and she sees the results. Okay? It's not a one and done thing. You have to put in the work in order to get where you need to be. So, just a little update on that patient. We'll see if I need to follow up with her, but I gave her 3 specific exercises. I'll probably check in with her in about a month, see how she goes. But other than that, it's just kind of self-monitoring, you know, and if she needs another bout of exercises, I'll switch it up, right? Because we can't just keep doing the same thing. The shoulder is a vulnerable joint, so we need to train it in multiple areas, multiple aspects. That's why I keep putting out these videos of my training. I'm loving it. So, anywho, hope you guys have a lovely Saturday. It's getting nice out. Salute. My other Wonder Woman cup was in the wash, so I had to use my Masters Athletes. But I have a surprise for you guys later on. I'll show you later, maybe in the next video, depending where I shoot it. But get after your Saturday. Enjoy the rest of vacation or Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had some pretty good eats. And I'll talk to you guys next week at the next coffee talk. But yeah, if you have any questions or want to go over a specific movement, we're going to start doing some of those things, like physical therapy exercises and what I'm thinking when I'm doing a specific movement, right? Which then carries over to things that you do in the gym or things that you do around the house, like cleaning the house, right? As you guys perhaps saw last week, was my mom was standing on her knees and then getting up from her knees. Like, that's something easily could do, right? So, and that's something that carries over to life, because if she falls, she'll know how to get up, right? We got a little question. Could you use side plank to strengthen muscles around elbow for carpal tunnel? Carpal tunnel isn't necessarily a strength issue. It's a nerve issue. So sometimes, that was a great question. Sometimes with the carpal tunnel, so the nerve right here is the ulnar nerve. Sometimes it gets a little pinched off, or sometimes patients might feel this nerve like snap, or, you know, people relate to this area as the funny bone. And they might get symptoms down into like these 2 to 3 fingers. That might be a good talk for next week. That's a fantastic question. So we can stem off of that. But as far as doing the plank for carpal tunnel, I don't want to say no and I don't want to say yes, but I think you need to address where that nerve might kind of be getting a little bit pinched off. So that is an ulnar nerve issue, and then getting into the actual carpal tunnel, which is into the middle of the hand. Again, that could be all forearm related, and it could be shoulder related, which then stems up to the neck. So definitely you would need an assessment for that. But I wouldn't say no and I wouldn't say yes. Great question. I think I'm going to mark that down, and we'll go over that the next time. That's a fantastic question. But yeah, send me a DM if anybody else has any questions regarding some particular movements, or maybe some pain or aches that they may be experiencing, or you know, some knowledge too. So I'm all about that. But you guys have a lovely Saturday. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk to you guys soon. So, salut. This is good. West Virginia coffee with a mix of Starbucks. I prefer West Virginia. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. How do I do this?